Hey everybody, welcome back to Pathmonk Presents. Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by adding Pathmonk to your website in seconds, letting the artificial intelligence do all the work, and increase conversions while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Pathmonk Presents. We're really looking forward to today's episode. We've got CEO and founder over at ReferMeIQ, Peter Velardi. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, Kevin. Great to be here with you and your audience.
I'm really excited to have you on. So,
Same.
before we dive into everything and get too deep into the nuts and bolts about what Refer Me IQ is, why don't you just give us a little bit of kind of like a overlaying statement about who you guys are and what you're looking to solve?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, great to be here. We basically work with leaders of small and medium-sized organizations that are growth-oriented, that want to grow faster, acquire more clients, but do it at a lower cost per client acquisition, which of course spells referrals. And what we do for these companies is we completely automate through AI and workflow management, a very successful, proven referral process, but more importantly, help the leadership team build a referral culture, and basically save them a lot of time, money, and effort and spend that they're currently doing. And our deliverable seems to be quite unique out there for a software company, Kevin. It's not only software that we can prove that works. We have 100% retention of enterprises, and average ROI is 10 times plus in the first year. But we deliver not just the software, but we wrap it with tons of value add to get traction. Things like onboarding, training, quarterly workshops, dashboard reviews with the leaders. And we play a lot in regulated spaces like financial advice and wealth and insurance. And so we're also really good at making sure it's all tightened up from a compliance perspective. So that's what we do, and we're here to help.
Awesome. You had mentioned a few kind of verticals or a few different types of individuals who might be utilizing this. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that audience. Are there any specific industries that you think you're working with most at the moment? And what are kind of the most common issues that ReferMe IQ is looking to solve?
Yeah, I would say that 50% of our client base are companies within the financial advisory, wealth management, insurance space, because that's my background. I've been in that space for 40 years, starting as a financial advisor, senior guy, entrepreneur, investor. So I know that space really well. So I have a lot of C-suite contacts, and so that group, what they're trying to solve is profitable growth. And they know they need to acquire clients. It's the most valued thing that a company can do for a financial advisor to attract, retain, and train them. And that's to help them acquire clients. So we help those companies acquire talent and recruit people who want to be supported with client acquisition systems at scale, and help them retain them, help them become more productive. The other half is a mix of all sorts of verticals, kind of interesting, everything from health spas to a real estate company to technology companies like yours, companies that just have tried everything possible to fish in the stranger pond. And with the low conversion, high cost, high churn, and all those things tend to produce a lot of leads that take a long time to convert. I think companies like yours are starting to emerge now that can really help that process along faster. And I'm curious to explore that with you as well. But they know that the best businesses are built on building 100% referral-based businesses, but they just lack a system. They have no workflow system or structure to make what is unpredictable predictable, and they miss the whole 50% world of referrals that they would get if they just asked. So our system basically does all the human behaviors that we wish that a producer, if there's a company with 10 salespeople, for example, and The boss man or a woman is trying to get them to ask for referrals because they add so much value and they're so referable. But what ends up happening is it doesn't happen because people get in front of people and they have all these hangups and lack skill and courage to do it. So our system does all the key steps that we would wish a human sales producer would do for them in a personal, authentic way and manages the whole workflow. Lastly, for some companies, it's the first time they even get visibility on how many referrals they get, what the engagement of people are, and all the restrictions in their conversion path that lead to not only producing a referral, but converting that referral to an ideal, ICP. I'd say it's a mix of, wealth, financial, but also all sorts of cool companies with cool people that just want to grow and want to grow at less cost and actually scale and build valuation by having installed systems that don't depend on perfect human behavior.
Yeah, I think I would say the digital marketing agency to technology partner. This is something that we see all the time, right?
Hmm.
How can Pathmonk work with digital marketing agencies to provide them with more value and ultimately more conversions for their clients, right? And yeah, it's something we see all the time. Some smaller agencies who haven't really dabbled in the referral area for too long. Maybe they're really let's say, looking forward to handling more referrals and building up that referral side of the business. But
Hmm.
if you don't have a system in place, it can, lead to longer and longer sales cycles. Some of those referrals end up fizzling out because they're not on some sort of a conversion path, and you don't know how to manage that process. You just say, "Hey, someone gave me a referral. What do I do next with it?" Right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be a really interesting vertical to see grow out over the next 2, 3 years. I think the agency to technology partner relationship is definitely one that could utilize something like ReferMeIQ.
Yeah, and you're so right, Kevin. In fact, we're seeing more interest than ever from actual marketing agencies, and we're seeing kind of two parts of that you spoke to. One is they want more tools to help their clients, and they're struggling to become relevant right now because so much of what they do now can be outsourced through AI agents, for example. So they're trying to, grasp for relevancy and value. And if successful, they will not only survive, but they'll thrive. But what they're seeing, second, is they're seeing, all the marketing systems that and tools and vendors and providers that they help orchestrate and deploy. It's harder and harder to get return from that. But it's all that fishing in the stranger pond. And what they're starting to wake up to is that for these companies, the gold really is relationships. It's like, I don't know if you know the Aesop fable where the dude goes around the world knocking on doors to find gold and he doesn't find it and he comes home and he finds it in his basement, right? It's like, oh my God, I never do all that, right? It's kind of like that now. Companies are starting to wake up and become more aware that the gold a company has is all the relationships cumulatively, their clients, their networks, their strategic partners, all of that. And it's like what they lack, though, is a gold mining system. And that's why we're becoming very relevant to say, hey, we have it. We have this thing off the shelf you can take, and let's nurture those relationships. Let's add more value to them. But let's create this way more frictionless, easier path so that they can actually refer 10 people in 2 minutes instead of one person in 15 minutes. Because today, the number one way people refer is through email. But I have to get your email address, the person I'm referring to, Kevin, meet Bob, Bob, meet Kevin. Could take me 15 minutes. So there's resistance today to do that. We need to make all that way easier. And that's exactly what we do.
I would agree. So, moving on, I want to focus a little bit more on the website itself for ReferMeIQ. I checked it out. It's a really
Yeah.
nice looking website. I think you had mentioned making some changes to it sometime recently. Maybe you can tell me what role does the website play in terms of current client acquisition? Because ultimately, someone's going
Hmm.
to go to the website. They're going to say, "Is this the right website for me?" They're checking you guys out, trying to figure out, "Is this the right tool I need for my own kind of referral system or referral program?" What sort of major strengths or weaknesses do you think your website has currently?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say our website has played historically a supporting role. It's kind of the supporting cast. It wasn't intended to convert clients. It was more intended to support all the other channels that we use with being clear on the ICP, being clear on our story, and having lots of content. I'd say our strength is we've got tons of value-added content and tools in the resource center. So we take an educational approach, and somebody can go to the website, and there's white papers and tools and calculators and all sorts of things that can help them fish in the relationship pond and mine that gold. So I think the strength historically has been clear messaging, great support for it, great resources, and very good branding. We hear from people just like you, what you said, looks good, seems good, but how's it working kind of thing, right? Our weakness, though, I would say is conversion. And where we're shifting now is we're starting to say, hey, we want our website to play a more primary. We've done all the SEO, we've done all that stuff, and it's doing fine. But we would like to create a more clear, precise customer journey. And we're shifting, our most productive clients are enterprises. And so we're shifting more to work with enterprises that have 10 to 20 to 100 to 1,000 producers, because we're really helping them scale a program within their enterprise. And so our work ahead is to create an even more succinct, clear customer journey, improve conversion, and begin to shift what we're doing towards enterprises.
Yeah, sounds like you're doing the right thing as you guys grow, for sure, of course. Okay, so I want to change the focus of the conversation a little bit away from ReferMeIQ and a little bit more
Mhm.
over to Peter Velardi, the marketing professional. Okay,
Sure, sure.
in your history and past and experience so far working up until this point, what have you learned about what does make a great converting website? We just learned about how you want to turn your current website a little more from kind of like that educational tool over into a more better converting tool. What are some of the tools or tips or approaches that you would recommend to people when creating a really great converting website?
Yeah, and I have learned a ton about that. I've always had interest in that. I've always been in the space in lots of different roles. What I've learned about a great converting website, first and foremost, is, and I learned this the hard way because we were trying to be too many things to too many people, is get narrow fast. As
Mm.
fast as you can, get super clear on your ICP, ideal client profile. Get super clear on not only what the vertical is, but who you're talking to, who the audience is within that vertical or verticals, and even put yourself in the mind space of the person making the decision, and get really crystal clear on what the problem is you're trying to solve and what that means to that person emotionally, physically, even, and get that super clear. The more scattered you are, the more you'll have to do test and learn to land on that, and your expenses will go obscenely high, and time and effort and all the time it takes to get through that cycle of test and learn. So that's first and foremost. Once you get that right, then everything becomes easier. But then probably the next two drivers, one would be get really clear on the customer journey of exactly what you want that person to experience. I think on average, people convert after an average of 6 to 8 touches of content, and that could or may not involve a human. It just depends on your model of how you choose to build your business. But that customer journey has to be really clear, and there has to be lots of proof sources and relationship building and trust building built into that at the right pace for your ICP. That's probably two. And then three is really about getting clear on what you want the customer to do. So your CTAs and calls to action, where they are, what it looks like. All the rest people know. You need to have really clear messaging. You need to have a great hero statement. Your homepage is everything. It has to be modernized so the end user knows that you're staying current, but has to be SEO'd, all those things. But if somebody has a really clear ICP, really clear journey, and knows what they're doing with the CTAs, it'll support what you're trying to do.
I think it's really well said, and I think one of the things that I noticed from you talking is there's so many little things you have to remember when like putting together a website, right? You mentioned hero banner, call to actions, making sure when you say SEO to SEO, and it in itself obviously has dozens and dozens of different factors that go into that, right? And it makes me realize there are so many little things that everyone says you have to do this, you have to do that. But you're totally right. When it comes down to certain pillars of what you need to communicate to someone, yeah,
Hmm.
make sure you're communicating it to the right person, right? Your ICP, that's one.
Yep.
Be super clear about what that message is and make it easy for them to convert. Make sure that call to action is
Right.
can't miss, right? Because as long as you provide the right information to the right people with a place to convert, you'll always get those people, falling into the phishing net. I
Hmm.
think all the other testing and all of the other things are to see how much more of the outside population can we bring in to try to get more of, right?
Hmm.
Getting organic visitors, seeing people convert
Yes.
from paid advertising. It's more about how do you get more in there. But once they're in there, you have to convert your most valuable ICP. But how can we get more and more of kind of like the other population that might be flowing in addition to the ICP? So yeah, really interesting to kind of listen to you talk, break it down like this. It makes me realize there are definitely the important things and kind of like the, secondary things.
Yeah, and the headline for me hearing you is, don't try this at home. Don't try to do all this yourself.
Yeah.
There's so much nuance to it, and hire a great firm or bring in a great CTO, or CMO, whichever you think is more relevant. And the other thing I've learned, and I'm sure you see this, is that you can kind of figure things out, and something that works today, and then the sandals shift in this field like instantly.
Oh
And
yeah.
even something that worked really well, that gave you the best, the juice for your squeeze, like doesn't work at all like now. And it's like, whoa, I wish I saw that coming, or now I've got to adapt and shift, and what do I do next? And so it's a very hard thing. And that's why a lot of marketing agencies, I think, struggle, is even the formulas that they've used of what's their best stuff, sometimes will work one day and not work another day.
Yeah.
So the sand shifts, and so it's really a game of constant adaptation and growth, right?
I would say so. If you can identify those pillars, great. You can shift around them, right?
Hmm.
That's one thing. And I think that's going to be really, really important. And those kind of pillars don't change too quickly, but all of those little tiny factors around it, they come and go like dust in the wind, like you said, right? So I
No
think
doubt.
that that's
Yeah.
really important. Never get too complacent with your website. Maybe it's working today.
Hmm.
The same numbers next week could look totally different. So really, really well said. So being a CEO and a founder of the business, and I know that you probably have lots of different hats you're wearing, but maybe you can tell us what does a typical like day-to-day work-life balance look like for you? What are some of the typical tasks you're focusing on, and what does a typical workday look like?
Yeah, I think it starts with kind of a couple grounding principles or philosophies that I always operate under. There's a bunch, but I'll just share two real quickly. So the first one is I believe that we're either growing or we're dying, and there's no in between. So if I'm to be the best resource to others, my company, shareholders, whatever it is, I have to be committed to growth. And growth means continuously being curious. It means doing hard things. It means discomfort, not comfort. So a part of what I'm doing every week, every day is seeking challenges and seeking dragons to slay and seeking ways to optimize. And then the second principle is that I just think life is one big optimization exercise, in all parts. And so it begs the question, well, what are you trying to optimize? And that's where most people fail. Most people would except those first two things that I said, but where most people fail, and we all have in the past, is not being crystal clear on what you're trying to optimize. So my life operationally is one big Venn diagram. I'm always at a point in time, ask myself, what are my three circles that I'm in the middle of that I'm trying to optimize? And then basically I get up every day and ask myself, what do I need to do today to optimize? And so right now, and it's all about what you value at a point in time. What I value now is not what I valued as a freshman in college. So right now, it's my relationships, family, friends, colleagues, partners. Second is my health and fitness, which is all about how do I stay healthy, high energy, feeling great so I can be the best resource for others. And then the third is my businesses, and I have two. We're talking about one today. And so it's always about, what should I be doing today? So that's the framework that I operate under always. And then beneath that, it's just basically a math equation of how you divide up this fixed time that we all have, right?
Right.
And when you back out sleep, you still have a lot of time to do all the things you want to do in your life, more than enough. And so then it's just how do you slice it up? And so I slice things up into three kind of things. As you can tell, I'm a big fan of Pareto's law because I talk in three things.
Yeah.
The chosen few that drive the many, right? Um, but the three things I've got, what you call focus days. Those are days when you're playing the game, you're in the game, you're not preparing for the game, you're just doing. Those are my Zoom meetings, my calls, where I'm trying to make things happen, right? Second are what's called buffer days, and these can be half days, these can be 3 hour blocks. That's where you prepare for your games. You practice, you do all the things, prepare your decks, look at your key messaging strategy, all of that. And then the third is free days, and free days should be no work. It doesn't occupy your brain or anything else. And on free days, I am recharging. But I kind of stay curious and I stay grow. I still like to do hard things, but I've got a ton of hobbies, Kevin, and I fit them into those free days. But a good example is, I love to fly fish, and I use a lot of fishing analogies, like fish in the stranger ponds, fish in the
I've
relationship
noticed.
ponds. So you're starting to see how
Yeah.
I think about things, right? And I'm trying to help companies catch bigger and more fish all the time at less cost. That's my goal in life. And so, but I love to fly fish, and fly fishing, if you've ever done it, is extremely hard. So I just got back from a trip from the Bahamas. We did bone fishing. I mean, it is hard. You get everything against you. The wind, the fish are smart. But I like it because each trip I come back, I've improved my skill a little bit. And I'm growing a lot as a fly fisherman. And over the years now, I've caught more and larger fish. I caught my personal best bonefish on this trip.
Oh.
So that's pretty much. And then lastly, I'll just say then it becomes micro dicing, and then I basically get up. I do a system quarterly planning, weekly planning, daily planning. So I just get up every week and say what are the main outcomes I want from this week, and then I've got little 3 by 5 cards. Sometimes I'll use my pads and technology, but more often I'll just say, all right, this week, what are the top 5 or 10 things I want to make sure I do? I get up each day and I just do those things. It's fairly mechanical with some adaptation, but I don't ever wonder what I'm going to do. I'm always clear about what I need to do, and then I just try to be less human each year, month, and decade to make less mistakes and to go from doing what I want to do, as a kid, 20% of the time. As an adult, try to get in that sweet spot of doing what I say I'm going to do at least 80% of the time. And
Mm.
so that's kind of how if that's helpful, view the world and how I break it down.
Yeah, I think this is time management to the extreme and really making sure that your life is prioritized, your time is
Mhm.
prioritized. And as long as you're successfully and responsibly hitting those to-do lists and saying that's done, that's done, that's done on time, you're going to hit your goals, at the projected pace that you want. So I think it's really, really smart, really, really mature, really, really well said. I want to
Thanks.
move on to the final section of the conversation where we're going to be
Mm-hmm.
doing a little bit more playful, thought-provoking questions before we sign
Mm-hmm.
off. So to
Sounds
get things
good.
started, I'm going to ask you a relatively easy one, but what's the last book that you read?
I finished up last month Walter Isaacson's book on Elon Musk.
Interesting.
And man, was that interesting. Lots of conclusions or headlines from it. One was this was one layered and complex man. Still is obviously and controversial in some people's eyes, but the most important thing is what an example of human potential. What this guy has gotten done between birth and where he is today is just unbelievable. And it just reminds me that no matter what we think we're doing, when we think we're at 100%, we're really at 40 or 50%. And there's way more that we can contribute, do to make impact on others and to improve your life. So that was the last book that I
Awesome. I'll have to add it to the list. Next one, a little bit more out there. If there were no boundaries in technology, and I mean, snap your finger and anything is possible, right? What
read.
would be the one thing that you would want to have fixed for your role specifically as a marketer today?
I would want to automate everything. And AI is just one way to do that. But I have learned over the years the power of automation. I want my human behavior to focus on what only humans can do. And
Mhm.
that's thinking, judging, strategizing, connecting, all the other stuff. Like I've seen the power of automating the referral workflow, but
Mhm.
that's just one thing. I mean, there's lots of workflows in a business. So I'm pretty excited about this new world of AI, for example, because I see it's not that I want to downsize my team, quite the opposite. I want to expand my team, and everybody's going to have a role in the future. But I want this MVP team of super smart people. I want them put against tasks that only humans can do. I want automation to take care of everything. We're getting there, as all companies are, but there's way, way more to go. So if I had to wave a wand, I'd say every, task that's duplicatory, if that's a word, everything that a machine can do. I want that to happen so I can free up my humans to do, highest and best use that humans are capable of doing, tying it back to kind of the Musk book, right?
Yeah, I think here at Pathmonk we have a very similar idea. Something that we match. At least we always sit down on a weekly basis and say like, okay, what sort of blockers does anyone have? How can we fix these? And the first idea is the blocker because we don't have the right idea, or is the blocker because we don't have enough time?
Right.
And if the answer is because we don't have enough time, often the first thought is always, well, is there a way to do this in an automated fashion? If it's taking you too much time, is there a way to do this more efficiently?
That's right.
And you would be so surprised. No matter what the thing is that you're trying to accomplish, there's probably some sort of AI already out there doing something like that. So yeah, I've found using AI in many, many, many different parts of our daily tasks over here at Pathmonk. I just can't imagine what sort of new ways we're going to continue to discover, over the next year or two or three. But yeah, it's advancing so rapidly, and I think I 100% agree. Like there are some things that humans have to be a part of, right? And you want
Hmm.
those people to be great and focused on those things, their strengths, right? But the other areas that are just time consuming, energy draining, things like that, automate. Have
Yeah,
it done.
you're so right. I mean, the utopia, right, for any, growth-oriented, profitable business that's scaling is to have everybody on your team doing their highest and best use against the business needs of the business to grow it and do it profitably and to do it in a way where everybody's growing. If you could
Mhm.
figure that out and have other things be handled that are not highest and best use in some other way that's completely automated, life would be even better,
Well,
as good as it is, you know.
yeah, we definitely would. I think the interesting part that we found out, I think that you kind of hinted at, right? You said what the individuals are doing versus the business needs, right? And what
Mhm.
we have realized is, yeah, you can automate just about everything, but to a certain point, every single one of those things costs money as well, right?
That's right.
So you could theoretically have your whole team doing automated stuff, but depending on how much it costs you versus how much you're getting out of it, that's another thing that you have to kind of weigh and balance. So yeah, I think
No doubt.
over time, as there's more competition, it drives the price down, makes things more affordable. More of the lower level, small to medium sized businesses are able to take advantage of this and automate even more and kind of take another step forward. And it just keeps
Mhm.
happening and happening. So, yeah, I mean, the AI we could talk about all day long over here. I mean, this is Pathmonk Presents. We're an AI company. We get it. So,
Yeah,
uh,
no, you guys are into it, and you found a nice niche of what you're doing. But
I
it's
think so.
exciting. I mean, I can't even imagine what the world's going to look like even 3 years from now, right? Forget
No, I'm
about 5 or
excited.
10, right?
I'm excited. So, moving on to the last two questions that we've got.
Sure.
Number one, to be a little bit more specific on the last question, where you said you would love to automate everything, is there one in particular that you would like to automate, whether it be, a report or a certain weekly or daily task that you do? Is there any one thing that you would want to make automated out of all the repetitive tasks?
Yes, there's two actually, and we're hot on it right now. So because we don't have it, I'll answer it that way, but we will have it within a few months. And so
Ooh.
that there's two kind of, and this is a little teaser for people that you may want to get signed up for us now because the cost will likely go up at some point when we get these in place. But there's two things I want to do. One is I want to completely AI agent the whole setup process for our software. It's easy, but we right now have a unique thing where you can set it up on your own. And you also get live support, and we give live support to an enterprise to onboard a lot of people at one time. And some form of that will continue. But I want to have an AI agent that may look like my staff, for example, that will do it with you and for you in a fraction of the time. So that becomes something most software installations in an enterprise get maybe 25 to 50% adoption even in the first year. Salesforce runs, I think, like 25%. We get 100% adoption within a month. But we can improve upon that a lot by having AI. So that's one. And the second is in the spirit of optimization, is we want an optimization agent that is kind of riding along with you in your experience as a ReferMeIQ user, and constantly popping into your life saying, "Hey, did you know that these three clients produced 80% of your referrals? How about we set up some unique campaigns just to go more deep and put more chips down on them? Or did you know you get your highest conversion when you say these three words? I bet you didn't know that. How about we weave those into more of your content?" So that's both right now currently being built to do that because we do a lot for them to optimize, but having that built in and having technology play that role that it can now could be super powerful.
I 100% agree. That's a great answer. Optimizing even the journey after onboarding, right? After getting started with you,
That's right.
continuing to get feedback, continuing that optimization loop that continues to flow regardless, even when they've already signed up. That's really, really good. I think a lot of people could learn from that because a lot of people will say, "Hey, we got them on board. Let's move on to the next one," right? But if you
Right.
can continue an optimization process even after closing new clients, that's awesome. Okay, so the final question
Mhm.
as we sign off. And before I ask this question, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us today. This has been an awesome conversation. Anyone that's looking for any sort of refer me or referral type technologies and referral dashboards, go check out ReferMeIQ and Peter Velardi. But the last question is, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Perfect. Yeah. And just back into what you had just said. If people need to get a hold of me, website for sure, as you said, but you can also just get me on email. And that's at peter@refermeiq.com. pathmonk.com. If you've got questions you want to engage, just shoot me an email. Happy to engage there. And you can also find me on LinkedIn as well. And you can check out my profile. So I would say, what's the biggest thing that I would learn or do differently? I would say trust my gut more than I had in the past. And I'm doing that more and more now. I mean, I've got lots of years of experience in this space. And there's times when I look back where we did test and learn for too long, that some bell went off in my gut saying, this is not going to work. Stop it now. Or this is working great. Stop it and put more chips down on it. Because marketing really is a game of test and learn. What we want to do is get those cycles compressed and do it at less cost and time suck. And so there's times when I could have compressed this kind of learning cycle just by, listening to my gut. And so what I'm applying that to now is I'm really my decisions and choices as a CEO. I'm seeking more balance now. It's not just my head and data and feedback from smart people. It's what's my gut saying, and it's really helped me put this choices together faster, and I'm seeing better results by doing that. So that would be the one thing that I might rely on a little bit more.
Yeah, but I would also say that those gut decisions get better and better with time, right? Like so you
They
have to
do.
make mistakes early on to be able to like learn, oh, was my gut right or was it wrong, right? And it doesn't get to this point unless you've had years and years of experience in a leadership position and growing businesses and seeing the failures so that you can compare them to the victories, right? So really well said. I just want to say, Peter, thank you so much for joining the show today. We really enjoyed having you. We'll be sure to share this along with our audience and make sure that we share your email and your link along with it. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thanks for the invitation. It was really fun.
Of course.